All right, well, 12 months ago, African leaders vowed to improve food security on the continent. But since then, over 20 million more people have been pushed into severe hunger. This has been attributed to severe weather patterns and a continent not aggressively pursuing new ways of practicing agriculture. Such sentiments have been shared by the humanitarian community to African leaders who've just concluded their 36th summit of the AU in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. And Tiviz Leila Mohammed paints a picture of what inaction looks like in Marsabit County.
The sadness of a mother helping her child who can barely support himself to walk. The young lad struggles to put one foot forward in a bid to painfully move out of the harshness of the sun's rays into the coolness of their hut. The environment has turned into an area full of rocks and shrubs far apart, and the community is in fear that if things go on as they are, life will be even tougher for them going forward.
The impact of drought is very severe on children, on the elderly, but also on the women who are breastfeeding or those who are pregnant. We see that children are highly affected because their capacity to sustain a period without eating something is shorter. Therefore, we have seen a lot of malnutrition taking place.
The skies over Marsabit haven't opened up to bring forth the rains for 5 seasons now, leaving the earth dry, the animals dead or dying, the residents hungry and hopeless.
Hakuna siku hata moja, pengine hata saa hizi asubuhi tulikuwa tunaanza tu kukula hiyo mnyama kidogo dogo ilikuwa inabaki. Unakufa unakula hiyo.
Watu yote wamesanyika sasa, wote wamekuja Loyangalani. Pia ameaffect hata mambo ya shule. Watoto saa hii kwa sisi wafugaji hapa Loyangalani tuko na shida kwa sababu tulikuwa tunalipa watoto na mvugo. Kwa saa hii mvugo imeisha.
We have started losing animals now. The animals are dying. And where they are even now is like they have finished everything. So it's just people are just moving in circles now with their animals. There's nothing better. They are also getting in the places where they are.
The situation is getting worse. 6 million people in Kenya are faced with severe drought. We are rerouting. We are reorganizing our budget.
President William Ruto, while receiving the 2022 Short Rains Assessment Report in Nairobi last week, called on partners, the private sector and well-wishers to support the government in saving lives and building long-term resilience in enabling especially pastoralist communities affected by drought to be self-sufficient.
Hakuna chakula kingine unaweza kupatia usaidiane naye kama itakuwa kwa kama iko chakula si unasaidia hiyo hata hiyo mali yako inabaki. Kama hakuna hiyo yote, mamiti ndio inakaa ile iko sagara hakuna. Taka ufike mahali ya juu huko, iko adui tena huko, mahali unaweza ku.
Pastoralists have lost hope now because you don't have milk. When you bring these animals to the market, you don't fetch anything good that can sustain you for some times, as usual. So the situation is very bad.
Bao tulikuwa tunategemea hapa ni vitu mbili. Tulikuwa tunategemea mvugo na bahari, lake. Sasa upande wa mvuko kwa saa hii imeisha.
In Loyangalani, Marsabit County, another activity that brought an income to the community before is also facing threats due to climate change and the rise of waters of the Lake Turkana.
Ile mapato ambayo tunapata kwa bahari imekuwa shida. Imekuwa shida kabisa kwa sababu maji imejaa zaidi. Hata mali mvugo pengine kidogo inapelekwangwa kule kando na bahari maji imejaa.
Fishing used to earn the communities here enough money to sustain themselves and their families. But with the decreasing number of fish and their dying animals, life has turned them against each other, with neighbors seeing each other more like enemies due to the scramble for resources.
They have now cannot be finished within a very short time. But these other ones, because they don't have anything from this other side, now they are using the guns.
20% of the water sources have dried up. That therefore means that the people have no livelihoods.
According to a report on climate change impact on the African continent, about 20 million face hunger, including 6 million here in Kenya, a huge chunk of that population resident in the vast Marsabit County. 55 million children are malnourished within the continent, with many communities unable to provide a balanced diet to their vulnerable members in the community.
We are reassigning resources meant for development, resources meant for schools, resources meant for hospitals, to feed people, to feed livestock. And this year we are going to have the 5th consecutive year of failed rains. The phenomenon is not getting better, it's getting worse.
The report also shows that 278 million people in Africa are also not eating properly and could be undernourished depending on one type of meal. African governments whose heads have met this weekend in Ethiopia have been called upon to take action on worsening climate fueled by droughts and floods. There is also little government support to farmers or adequate climate adaptation. Thus, production of staple food like cereals dropped in the year 2022. 48 out of 54 African states prioritize 3.8% of their budget on agriculture. On the contrary, they have been accused of setting their agenda on security, with many African states spending 6.4% of their national budgets on arms. The continent also continues to face internal strife in some countries, as ongoing conflicts have aided in destruction of farmlands, displaced people, and fueled hunger. For the residents of Marsabit in Kenya, it's only a matter of time before things drastically change on them, as they seek the government to place its full attention on their misfortunes and not only save livelihoods but lives as well. Leila Mohammed, NTV.